story blocks.
On Blitz, we have legendary runner for Lumpkin County, Wyatt Windham. Wyatt, thank you so much for being on Blitz, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
And you've had an absolute remarkable career, so I'm going to rattle off some accolades. Just in a nutshell, a 3-time state champion, 3-time state runner-up, 5 region titles that you own individually. Safe to say you're the most decorated athlete in Lumpkin County history. What does all that mean to you when you kind of have a chance to let it soak in?
So, it really means a lot to me. It's like times, like throughout the seasons and stuff, I shoot for times and all that, but state times at the end of the day, 5 years, you're gonna have people running like probably faster times than that. So I mean, but state titles, you can't take that away, you know. So it really means a lot, and I mean, yeah, it's pretty special to me.
Yeah, you've definitely left a legacy and something for others to shoot for. But I want to tap into your mind as a distance runner, because that's a lot of people don't think that running is fun, but you've equated that together. But distance requires determination, perseverance. Talk about how you tap into being able to find that next gear, and whether it's cross country or track and field. How do you find that next gear when you're in pain or just not feeling your best?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. So on days, not every day is a good day, right? Like, I mean, ideally you want to be, running like as fast as you can, but that's not going to happen every day. And, a coach told me that like consistency is key. And, some days you're gonna have good days, some days you're gonna have bad days. But if you keep a consistent plan, then you can kind of like, lessen the range of, having a drastically bad and then drastically good. It can be more closer to the middle of, your good performance,
Right, so not letting your lows be too low or your highs too high.
Exactly. And like you said, like even in training and stuff, like you're not gonna have, not every day, like, if you have like do 6 800s or something, not one of the 800s aren't always going to be good, but you just keep that in mind. Just don't let it get too emotional, and just go at it, and you'll get better from it.
What's your mindset going into, let's just say, any cross country course, because they're all different? Like some are more hilly than others, some may be more flat. Weather plays a factor too, but what's your mindset on a given cross country course? And are you shooting for like maybe a course record, or are you kind of looking at what is my personal best on this course and can I improve?
Yeah, personal bests are like a really good goal to shoot for. Like I know, like when you're getting down to certain times, it gets like 30 seconds. Like let's say like my freshman to sophomore year, like I'd cut like a minute off each course, and then going to junior senior, it was more like 30 seconds. But you're getting like lower times, and so when it's a lot different than a track, because a track is pretty much the same, but cross country you got a bunch of different things. So a couple days before, I tend to get like a map of the course, and when I actually get there, I typically find like a spot near like, when there's like a fourth of the race left to go, I say, okay, this spot right here, I want to kick it. Yep. And so you just push through, and because having a game plan is really important, especially for cross country, because like you said, every course is different. Yep. So if you having a game plan definitely takes a lot of the stress off of races.
So how did your love for running start? Can you kind of go back and pinpoint a specific time in your life, maybe as a little kid, where you were like, man, I want to run for fun and I want to do it competitively?
So I didn't really start running until like 7th, 8th grade, because I was a defensive soccer player. I played mid-defense, and which, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, I did, because it's actually a funny story, because when I was starting out in high school, I went to all these running camps, and people are like, I used to play soccer and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's not a very original story. But I was a defensive player, and in 6th grade soccer tryouts, my dad, funny enough, was actually my coach, and it was actually on this track. What he would do for tryouts is he'd do like a lap, time it, and I ended up like, I had flat feet at the time. It wasn't the best. It wasn't like terrible, but nobody really thought I was going to be a runner, and I actually did decent. My dad's like, hey, maybe you should try cross country and stuff, and thank God I had like a really good talent for it. So I'm like, I really want to develop this, and so it was, I think, my freshman year in high school. I was making good progress on cross country, and I was like, I need to go all in on this, and so I had to throw away my soccer days to do track and field and stuff. But I mean, my dad keeps telling me to this day, it was like, that was probably the best decision you ever made in your life.
No doubt. You've been, one of the state's best for several years now. It's been awesome to watch. But what is your favorite event? Speaking of that, like cross country meet, or is it the 800, 16 or 32?
So that question's actually like changed up from like every year. It's not consistent, but I think right now I'd probably have to say cross country is probably my favorite. It's because track and field, like, basically it's the same thing. So track and field is like a lot more heavy on splits and stuff. And so the faster you're getting, the less fun it is to keep those splits consistent. So, but you got to do that, and you get faster. It becomes easier to maintain the splits. But it's not always the best. But with cross country, you get a little different variety, a little different scenery every time. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's true. It's something different to look at.
Yeah.
So if you could, what's your favorite memory or moment in your time, in specifically in high school here at Lumpkin County?
I mean, I don't. Be quite honest, there's not really one specific moment. I've had a lot of great times. Going to state, every year has always been a blast. I got to run with my, I could probably talk about that later, but I got to run with my little brother this year, and that was really fun. Shout out to Wyatt. And yeah, I mean, just hanging out with my friends. The cross country and track group for distance always really been like a close-knit group, so getting to hang out with my friends is like really fun. So, and I'm always gonna keep that close to my heart.
Yeah, and I'm sure too, like winning a state title is probably
I
love hearing that the relationships are what really mean the most to you. That's pretty cool. And so speaking of relationships, let's talk closer to home. Your dad, Wyatt Windham, shout out to him. He's a country singer-songwriter as well. He's coached a bunch of different things like you've talked about. No doubt massive impact on your life, obviously, but talk about the bond that you two share and how much him and your mom have done to support you.
So they have been very supportive of me. Whenever, I think it was my sophomore year, when I kind of decided I wanted to go to the next level with this and go, try to do the best as I could. And so they were like, if you're all in for this, we're all in for it too. They've spent probably a bunch of, I don't even know the number, but they've spent like a lot of time and money trying to get me to the next level. And I couldn't have done it without them. Like my dad, he's like my coach who's not my coach. Like he does a bunch of research on the subject matters. Like almost every meet, I mean, some meets they don't let people go on the track, right? But every meet he's at like the 200-meter mark and is being like, these are your splits. And he's trying to help me run those fast times. And he's there at like the 1 mile, 2 mile mark in cross country. So he has been very successful. And even after races, some races that I don't do good on, he gives me constructive criticism and stuff, which is at the time is like, ugh. But it really, I know that deep down that he really cares about me, and I couldn't have done it without him. My mom, I know I talked about my dad a lot, but my mom's done a lot too. She's like, she had brought stuff, like she's always there for me if I need her. Like, hey, sorry, I need water at the last minute before I go run. She's always there to help me. So, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah, there's families are always really special. And speaking of which, you kind of gave a shout out to Wyatt.
Yeah.
Been really cool to watch him not just compete with you, but both y'all being 1-2 so many times. Talk about the camaraderie, the bond that you two share, how he sort of pushes you and you push him, and dare we say, could he potentially end up being better with following the example that you set for him?
Yeah. So to answer that, yes, he's probably going to be better than me because I mean. For reference, we both kind of had injuries this track season. He had something up with his hip, I had shin splints, but even injured, he was able to run a 4:21. It was like a 4:23 full mile, which is like a 4:21.16, which is 3 seconds faster than what I ran as a sophomore. So he's already like a year ahead of me. He's got some very impressive times for a freshman. I think at one point he was ranked like second in the nation for like fastest mile and stuff. So he's definitely at a bigger play. Like it took me a while to build myself up, in the state, but he's already there as a freshman. So I think if he can maintain that, then he could be something special.
How fun is that? What's the relationship when y'all are competing sort of together, but also against each other? What's that like on
So, I mean, he's always trying to like stick with, me and the top. If there's a top pack, he's always trying to stick with us, and he is always trying to. And it makes him better because competition, having people to like shoot for, is like really, really helpful. And so he definitely like builds off of that, and he gets really fast because of it. And also just in general, like I guess the more thing I noticed it is his practice, because I mean there was one guy, shout out to Ben Sherrill, he's running at Charleston Southern right now, and he'd always, he was a year older than me, but I didn't really have anybody per se other than like one or two people to like run with, or not always not to run with, but like, you know, running like long mileage and that kind of thing. And Whit definitely has been one of those people. And it's been really fun getting to run with him almost like every day for practice.
So another question I just thought of with running long distance and you typically being at the front of the pack, is it a worry for you sometimes to be too far in front, or how do you handle making sure you don't get out too quick and then tire yourself out at some point during the race?
Yeah, so I struggled with that whole thing my freshman and sophomore year. I would be infamous for like running like out way too far. Like there's a picture of my sophomore year in the mile where it's at state where I'm like probably 50 yards ahead of the pack. And the last 400, they like completely closed the distance. I still got third, but it was like, you know, it was like he's out too far. And so my junior year, I kind of had to, you know, obviously I still need to be in the front of the pack, but I need to be more conservative with it. So I'd always pick out a point where it's like, okay, this is 100 meters, and this is like, you know, you gotta stick with the pace. You gotta slow down, pace off of somebody, stick with it. And it was a prime example of this was this was a postseason race, right? But it was Garmin Running Lane. It's basically, you've probably never seen John Hunt's Park in Alabama. It's a big park in Alabama where they have this big national race, right? And they probably have a straightaway that is probably about half a mile long. So you have people who are like basically sprinting almost that entire distance because, you know, of course there's a clear point like, okay, slow down here. There's not like that and that. So at that point, I was like, I had ran it twice before, so I was able to get a good start. And even my parents were like, "Why is Whit in front of Wyatt? What's going on?" And so it was his first time, right? But you know, that was kind of a point where I'm like, you know, I think I got this this like too fast start thing down, you know. So
yep, saving it for when you need it. So let's talk Georgia Tech in the future. So congratulations on being able to go D1. That's unbelievable. Talk about the recruiting process and what made you choose Georgia Tech.
Yeah, so I think I really started looking to colleges my junior year. Georgia Tech and UGA were, you know, kind of the big schools I really wanted to go to. And so I went to a few visits with UGA and was like, oh, it was good, but it just, I don't know, it didn't really click. And then like I went to Georgia Tech probably, I don't know, it was like March of last year. And it was like, it just clicked with me, and it was really good. I got to go on an official visit like probably 6 months later, and it was really good. I actually I keep shouting out people, Alex Arambides, but he's been my role model for like, he's 2 years older than me, and when I was starting out with cross country, he was really good, right? He has like a 405 1600, which is like crazy, right? And so he runs at Georgia Tech, and when I went on my official visit, he was very kind to me. All the guys were, right? But just being on the team as your role model is like really something, you know? And so I really enjoyed it, and they really wanted to have me, right? But the issue was, I don't know if you've been following, but have you heard of the NCAA versus House? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, it's not super good for distance athletes with recruiting. Like I can't give a specific number for the roster, but they had to like, you know, they couldn't really take many guys, right? So I was a little nervous, but a few weeks later, coach calls me and say, hey, we're gonna have a spot. Do you want it? And I said immediately yes. So
And that's for cross country and track and field, correct?
And indoor track, yes.
Nice.
So they get me for 3 seasons.
Awesome.
So it's gonna be something. But
Well, yeah, no doubt you're going to have amazing success. But last question for you: what is your like? If I know it's way out because you haven't even got the tech yet, but what are your future plans, and how do you feel like running is always going to play a role in your life?
Yeah, so as far as like my professional career, I'm gonna have to play that by ear, because I mean, if I could be a professional runner, you know, that would be a really big opportunity. But you know, at the collegiate level, you're having people work as hard as me, if not more, right? So it'll be a big thing. But you know, if I could run professionally, it would be nice. But I'm just gonna have to play that by ear, you know. And I think even if I don't, you know, run to the next level after college, I still want to have running in my life. Like I really just enjoy, you know, listening to music and just running a few miles. Like that's nice. And I like to eat a lot of food too. So like having a way to burn off some of those calories really comes in handy. Yep. So.
Well, Wyatt, congratulations on an absolutely incredible career here at Lumpkin County, man. Can't wait to see you do the same thing at Georgia Tech.
Yes, sir. Thank you.